Can you hear me? Oh. Welcome 4GenNow. Members, I can only give you a snippet of what it was like on the slopes of Mount Everest, because I was there for 10 weeks. And I have to funnel this down to 15 minutes or less. But I have to tell you something before I start. When you go to Mount Everest or you go to Nepal, it is not about the destination. It is all about the journey. How many of you in this room are currently on a journey? That's what I was hoping to see. All the hands going up in the air, right? We're all on some kind of journey. Today, I want to share with you where and when my journey started. You don't just go to Mount Everest. You got to read a book 33 years ago. I was a much younger person then, but it planted a seed in the back of my mind, which I realized and sprouted as I was coming down the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro with 3 other couples. Fabulous experience. And I had read this book called The 7 Summits in 1985, and I asked the people in our group as we're going down the slopes, feeling all good about ourselves, we just climbed one of the 7 summits. Do you want to do the other 6? And then I looked at their wives to make sure they were on board, and they said yes. So after Kilimanjaro, we went to South America to do Aconcagua, went to North America to do Denali, went to Russia to do Mount Elbrus, and then in 2016, came back from Antarctica after doing Vinson Massif, 5 of the 7 summits, all successfully summited without oxygen. I was clear, number 6 was going to be Mount Everest. And to go to Mount Everest, I got myself 2 years to prepare. And sure enough, I ended up there with this team. 15 people, 13 men, 2 women from all over the world. But more importantly, for our discussion today, they were as young as 24, actually Gen Zers. Ton of millennials, ton of Gen X, and only 1 baby boomer. So we have this huge span of all these generations, and you know how climbers are? You ever been with a climber? They get a little bit macho. Whether they're male or female, it's fine, but they have bigger egos and they have expectations. And as a boomer, I wanted to connect with this community because we were going to be there for 10 weeks, and I wanted to build a relationship with everybody. But that's not how it went. As you can see behind us, oh yeah. You can see behind us, this is the Himalaya Khumbu route, but right here on the far right is Ama Dablam. Right here is Lhotse, 4th highest peak in the world. And right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the summit of Mount Everest, with snow being blown off because the jet stream has come down just far enough to blow it off at 200 miles an hour. That picture was taken on day 5 as we were headed to base camp. To get to base camp takes 12 days. Why would it take so long to get to base camp? You have to walk there. That's a good start. I feel it's like we get to know each other, right? Build community like we're building here today. Oh no. No, when you go to the base of Mount Everest, they want to test you on slopes like this one right here to see how you do with your crampons and your ice axe and your ropes, just to kind of evaluate you. And sure enough, when I got evaluated and all these younger people are climbing ahead of me, guess who was the last person to summit this test climb? It was me. And when I got to the top, none of these other younger people wanted to talk to me. I could tell that they had labeled me as the old codger, the old guy who's going to hold us back. He shouldn't be a part of our team. I didn't say anything, but sure enough, we kept going. And you can see in this picture, we went to this place called Everest Base Camp. Anyone ever been there? It's home for 65 days. Getting in and out of a tent with a 2.5-inch mattress to lie on every day. But base camp is great because what they're doing is they're allowing us to get to base camp so that we have time to acclimatize. If you went from this room to the summit of Everest, you would die in 5 minutes from depleted of oxygen. But what this map shows you, and we never had this map, but what it shows you is we start at base camp. This thing isn't giving me my little pointer. You start at base camp, and then we have Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3, and then Camp 4. Now, why are those camps all in specific spots? They're at different elevations because our guides, our company, put us in a position to be successful. And we did that by acclimatizing very, very slowly. So what we would do is we would acclimate every day for the next 6 weeks by going from base camp through the ice fall, back down, back up, back down, back up, 3 or 4 times. Then after being at Camp 1, they would let us go to Camp 2. And then back down to Camp 1, and then back down to base camp. Ladies and gentlemen, we did that for 6.5 weeks, almost 7 weeks. Doesn't that sound like fun? You actually pay for that? Because the Sherpa that we had as my personal Sherpa, Tunong, his job is to get me from Camp 4 to the summit and back down safely. That's his only job. Yet we've been introduced 7 weeks before I even get there. And so what I would like for all of you to put in the back of your head and plant a seed today is, what is it like to acclimate in your business? Entrepreneurs want to rush to Camp 3 so fast they get overburdened. They get stressed out. They get anxiety because they're not acclimating. When you form a new team, let them acclimate. Give them an opportunity to understand their surroundings and become familiar with it. And that's exactly what we did. And we went from base camp all the way up to there. That picture is taken from 25,000 feet at camp number 3. What it shows is the entire western Coombe. Camp 2 is down here, which this, oh, there we go. Look at that. See that? Camp 2, Camp 1, and then around the corner is base camp, and that mountain right there is 24,000 feet high. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can taste and see the summit. And I asked the guides at 5 in the morning, can we just go and do the summit right now? Because I'm here and I feel really good. Guess what they said? No. We have to acclimate. Unfortunately, what happened to me at 25,000 feet, when I couldn't get my crampons tight enough, I had to take off my gloves and go like this real fast, and I went down to Camp 2. And sure enough, the tips of my pinkies became black, pieces of wood. And I went to the mash tent at the bottom, figuring I'd get fixed up, and the doctor says, you must leave the mountain immediately. I said, no, it's not going to work for me, pal. I've been here long enough. He says, no, you must leave now, right now. And I got very angry. And then he asked for my credit card so that I could charter a helicopter that's going to fly me from base camp to a hospital in Kathmandu. And they wrapped up my fingers for frostbite. And the worst thing about that was I was told I have to stay in Kathmandu for 4 days. And I'm in this dark and dingy hotel room with all my stuff everywhere, hands bandaged, lying on a bed in a fetal position, crying my eyes out because I felt like a failure, a loser, inadequate. Nothing in the past means anything. I did not accomplish my goal. And as I'm standing there or sitting there or lying there looking at my fingers, I thought, well, wait a minute. As difficult as that decision was, I still have my digits. I get to go home and hug my children and grandchildren with my fingers. And I got up out of the bed, took a shower, shaved, went out into the streets of Kathmandu to acclimate, tell the story of why my hands were bandaged. And then I realized the lesson that I learned was that success in anything that we do is not final. Right, entrepreneurs? But more importantly, whether you're climbing Everest or you're building a new business with an intergenerational partner, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Would you all agree? Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special announcement right now. And it's about a team of people who have come together and have volunteered 4 generations, each one part of a relay team, to do what we're calling the Race Across America. Come over here. Jordan? Okay. So, I'm introducing you today, and yes, I got a shirt. Because you know what? We are a team. We're a team. And we have come together to do something extraordinary. Right? I'm the baby boomer. All right, part of the team. Our Gen Xer is none other than the fabulous man without a pants, Dave Evans. Our millennial cyclist is Jordan Youngblade from Fort Collins, from Denver. Our Gen Zer, this guy's scary. Okay. The Gen Zer is Cameron Martinez. Woohoo! And there is no possible way to do what they're saying is the hardest race in America, hardest race in the world, without a crew chief. And today I'm going to introduce our crew chief, none other than Mr. Keith Bailey. This is the first time that we have come together to really see ourselves, look each other in the eye. We're going to meet on Sunday for our first roundtable. But ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you, we will be able to bring an incredible opportunity about what 4GenNow is all about by doing this ride together, what we've learned, what we've found valuable, and how we can share it with others. So, Ram team, let's do it.
All right. Thank you so much, Cycle Team. One more round of applause for Brooke and the team. Make sure you follow us on social media because we're going to give you all the updates on the team and how they're doing, how they're training, and how they're going to move forward for the race to represent 4 generations of awesome, amazing entrepreneurs.